I don't know if you guys have felt this before, but just like itchy in my like existence.
So you might think that you're hiding it, but spoiler alert, you're probably not.
Open up, you open up.
Hi guys, I'm Hannah.
I'm Sadie.
And we're not straight.
Welcome to our channel. If you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the bell so you can get notifications every time we post a new video. And we have some exciting news for you guys. If you follow us on Instagram, you may have seen this already, but we started a Patreon.
Woo! We started a Patreon. We're really excited about it. A lot of you have asked how you can support us and the creative content that we put out there. This is the answer to that question. If you've never heard of it, it's a website, patreon.com, and it allows us to build a community more intimately and share extra content with you guys on a more regular basis, and share other things that we wouldn't necessarily post to YouTube, like a book club that I'm starting there.
Yeah.
So we wanted to give a quick shout out to some of our patrons who have already signed up, which is awesome. Jamie S,
Michael R,
Lindsay G,
Tori,
Kristen D,
Benjang S,
No Ordinary Adventure,
Katrina,
and Carol D. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. And if you go to our Patreon, you can see multiple different levels at which you can subscribe and become a member, and all of those levels will get you access to our posts that you can see on there.
So hopefully we'll see you there.
Yeah.
But anyway, the topic of today's video, it's a big one, you guys.
I'm in love with my best friend. What do I do?
Yes. So, short answer, tell them.
Tell them.
Tell them. For several reasons.
Yeah, so we wanted to talk about some of the reasons we think you should tell your best friend that you are in love with them,
Yes.
based on our own experience and what that was like for us. So this is a continuation of what we have been talking about with kind of the lead up to our relationship, and the way that we first kind of broached the topic of being more than friends. That's good. Okay. First reason you should tell your best friend that you're in love with them is for your own sanity and mental health. In my case, I was the one who first kind of brought this up to Hannah. And when I say brought this up, I mean I hinted at the idea. Hannah was like, do you mean to say that you are interested in being more than friends? And then I said, no. And then I backed up and then I thought about it some more, and I was like, no, I think I do want to be more than friends. So then I put it back in drive, and I was like, okay, I lied. I didn't know that this is what I wanted, and it is. But in my case, I was carrying this around, feeling kind of just this like sense of just like off balance, just kind of like a sense of like maybe like low level anxiety, and just couldn't find peace in my relationships with a lot of people. And I didn't know that me being gay and not knowing it at the time, and me having feelings for Hannah and not knowing that either at the time, was having such a drastic or dramatic effect on my mental health, and how it was just giving me kind of this cloudy existence, and I couldn't find full fulfillment or like real
contentment.
Yeah, content. I wasn't content in anything. I just felt kind of like, I don't know if you guys have felt this before, but just like itchy in my like existence. Like it was like something has to change, and I had been making all of these little changes. Like I had gotten a new job. I had tried to change my fitness, my diet, my everything, every factor that I could think of in my life, and it just wasn't having any effect.
Not to mental health.
Yeah, not to the extent that I needed it to. Like, of course all those things helped, but I still just kind of felt this like something's wrong. And after I told her, shit hit the fan, and my life got a lot more complicated, but I felt real again. Like I felt like genuine, I felt honest, I felt finally like, okay, I don't have to wonder why I'm not okay with all of these other relationships in my life. Like why I'm reaching for something and feeling like I can't quite get there, and then looking around and seeing other people be happy and wonder why that's not happening for me when I'm putting all this effort into these relationships.
Yeah, God. And that seems to be kind of true of any big thing that you're keeping inside, right?
Yeah.
And electing not to tell someone. It doesn't have to be telling your best friend you're in love with them. It could be literally anything. It always feels better out. And I think that brings us to the second point we wanted to make, which is actually that the friendship is maybe kind of ruined anyway. If one person in your friendship is having thoughts on a level that's not friendship anymore, then what you have is already different. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it does mean that moving forward, your friendship is a little less authentic and a little less real if you're keeping this huge piece of yourself from it. So we wouldn't have been able to kind of maintain the same friendship we had if Sadie really had just retracted it all and pretended it wasn't there and tried to move on.
Yeah, I certainly couldn't have.
Exactly, and I couldn't have either once I suspected that something had changed. So you might think that you're hiding it, but spoiler alert, you're probably not, and your friend can probably tell that something's a little bit off and they might not know what it is. They probably don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So there's almost no turning back anyway. But on the bright side, the third thing we wanted to talk about is that the world is a better place when you show up for yourself and the people around you with full honesty and courage, and you embrace yourself and your needs and your heart fully, period.
Yeah. Yeah, and this goes for pretty much anything, but if you are feeling discontentment or unhappiness or anxiety or depression around like a certain thing, like I was, whatever relationships you have in your life, you're not going to be able to have them to their, like, you're not going to be able to realize their full potential. And like Hannah was just saying, like, the friendship is ruined already. Along with that is if you are keeping kind of like this piece of yourself and you're trying to hide it and you're trying to like shut it down or pretend it's not there or whatever, you can't have real relationships with anyone. You big thirsty girl? Yeah, you.
Sorry, we had to get the dog.
Yeah, and just as a personal note to what Hannah was saying, before I told her that I had feelings for her, I was basically not being honest with myself, or not allowing myself to be honest. Like I didn't know that I had feelings for you. I was just not willing to like even think about it. Mm-hmm. You know, like I'd had these like flashes of like, wow, Hannah's really pretty, or like, I really love hanging out with Hannah. I want to spend like all the time I can with her, which could have been like signs, but I was like, no, everybody feels like that about their friends. And those were just moments that I kind of shoved down, and I just like never really allowed myself to think about it. So it's not like I was like harboring the secret, but I didn't even allow myself to wonder. Like I didn't even let myself. And that kind of ignoring of like genuine feelings and honesty with myself really stunted my other relationships too. Like I feel like I couldn't be happy for my other friends in the way that they deserved for me to be happy for them, because I was feeling unhappy myself and I just didn't even know why. And that like being able to share with the world what is like the truest part of myself was the one thing that kind of gave me a license to be like, okay, this is real. This is what I want. I'm gonna like tell Hannah. I'm gonna be honest about it. I'm gonna tell everybody else in my life who needs to know. And then it's out there and I'm being real, and whatever happens, happens. And that was the conversation that we ultimately had. I was like, I'm pretty sure I said, I have feelings for you and I don't expect this to become anything. Like, I was like, I don't anticipate that we're gonna be in a relationship. Just because I didn't know how she felt, but
you just had to tell me.
I just like, I needed to. I couldn't hold it in, and I didn't. Once I gave myself license to think about it, I didn't want to anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after I told Hannah that I liked her, I felt content with knowing myself that way, and that kind of contentment was kind of like the liberation, like the self-liberation that I needed in order to be able to look at all of the other people in my life and the relationships that I was having with my friends, and celebrate the joys that they were having. I think we all know the phrase like misery loves company, and when you don't feel happy, it hurts to see other people happy. And that's something that I'm not proud of, and I wish hadn't happened, because I wanted to support my friends. I wanted to be there for them. I wanted to be happy for them. So after I finally told Hannah how I really felt, and then took it back and then told her again, I was more honest. I was more real with myself, and then I had this like journey to honesty that I was able to share with other people. And in sharing with other people kind of like my struggles, my doubts, my lack of self-reflection, and my frustrations, and all, nervousness in telling her and stuff, it made me way more, like, it gave me something that I could connect with people on in a way that I couldn't before, because I just wasn't being real. And since telling Hannah, starting this relationship that we have, coming out to like all of my friends and family, I've had so many people say like, oh my gosh, I've had like a similar experience, or my brother, cousin, best friend, whoever had a similar experience as well. And it just seems like people come out of the woodwork with these stories that feel really isolating, and feel like you're alone and you're the only person who's ever gone through this, and you're not. And I didn't know that either. At the time, I felt super alone, and I felt like super, super isolated in this. I was like, no one is gonna understand me. And that's just not the case. And it made it way better to be able to share with the world, which is part of the reason why we started this YouTube channel.
Just gonna say that.
Yeah. And in talking to a lot of you guys have said similar things or asked questions about this, and we wanted to share this story in response to a lot of those questions as well. But if I hadn't shared with her, if I hadn't like been honest with her and with myself, like, I would never have been able to connect with so many people and feel validated, and also be the person who can validate other people's feelings, like on this topic.
Yeah, people kind of flock to you for it, to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there's something really beautiful about the connection that happens when you allow yourself to be really raw and vulnerable. I think we could all use more of that.
Yeah, especially since it's not something that is like in the storybooks, right? We've talked about this a bunch. Like, there isn't like a blueprint for non-heterosexual relationships. Like, everything you see in the movies and read in most books growing up is the prince and the princess, and that wasn't it, and that's not it for most people.
Yeah.
Okay, our last point is probably my favorite, the most exciting. If you tell your best friend that you're in love with them, it might work.
It might work. It did for us, and it's been incredible. It's been like the best 2 years of my life.
Same.
So it's worth it. And you'd be doing yourself and your potential love of your life a disservice if you don't bring it up, if you don't give it a shot. Like Michael Scott says,
you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott. Hannah and Sadie.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure we've said that exact quote in a previous video.
Ooh.
Gotta stay consistent.
Bonus points if you know which video it was.
I don't. Yeah, it might work, and that's like the beautiful part is when you are, honesty invites honesty. And if your friend has feelings for you and you tell them, like, that's gonna draw it out of them. You know, like it's gonna invite them to be really honest and vulnerable with you and share a really cool moment. And if it doesn't work, you're honest with yourself, and that's all that anyone can ask for. That's like being the most human, being the best.
Yes, it also makes you a certified badass, to use my mom's favorite word. It really is her favorite word. She has a tattoo of it. It's pretty badass. But really though, what else are we here for? What else are we here for but to do the hard thing and to say what your heart feels, even though it's hard, even though it's scary. It's real and it's the good stuff. And if you have any experience with this, help your fellow people out in the comment section on our Patreon page. There are people who are going through this right now who keep asking us for advice. So this is our advice. This is our 4-part way of saying, do it,
Go for it.
go for it. And if it goes poorly, we're here, and it's okay, and we can laugh about it, and maybe it'll be a great story someday. But that doesn't make it any less awesome or valid or real that you went for it.
Yeah.
So we love you and we admire you for showing up the way we've tried to show up for you. You guys have given it back to us 10 times over. So thank you.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yes.
To all of you out there who are in love with your best friends. And if you have an experience that you feel comfortable sharing in the comments, please leave us a comment, and we would love to hear more.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. We'll
Till
see you next time. Bye. If it doesn't, it's okay.
Oh, cute. Should I start this over? I feel like this is super confusing. It will greatly... Nope, I'm gonna start over. Shall?